Hey everybody, my name is Tajai Massey, and I want to talk to you about my career in hip hop. I know some of you have seen me, as I'm also an architect, but right now we're going to talk about what I did for, and I still do, for past maybe 30 years of my life. Actually, a little bit longer than 30 years. I'm a rapper in the group called Souls of Mischief and part of a larger crew called Hieroglyphics. You might notice this symbol. This is the symbol that represents our crew, and we've been making music together since the early 90s, really since the mid 80s as friends, out of Oakland, California. And we've been able to do a lot of things, come out with records, travel the world, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sort of how I got into it. So, like I said, my name is Tajai. My rapper name is Tajai as well. I decided, since I have a unique name, that I was just going to keep it as my rapper name, but a lot of rappers make up other names. For instance, let's say Jay-Z's real name is Sean Carter, but Kanye West's real name is Kanye West. So it depends on what you want to do with that. Um, Not only am I a rapper, I also own my own record label. So I'm an independent record label owner in Oakland, California. Our record label is called Hieroglyphics Imperium Recordings. So basically, we record. You see, I'm here in my home studio where I record most of my music, but also have an actual full-size studio down the street in our building. We produce and we manufacture our records, and then we sell them throughout the world. Now, in the past, we've made CDs, tapes, and all those things. But right now, the main way we sell is vinyls, so actual records that you put on turntables, and digital through iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, all those sort of companies where you get your music. Day-to-day rapping is pretty much a labor of love. I mean, you create the music that you want to create. I usually write my lyrics, and I have some friends who make actual beats in the music. They make them on machines and on instruments. And then we take an audio file of the machine from the music, of the music from the machines, and we put it in the computer. Then I take my voice and I record it through the microphone into the computer. And then we have somebody called a recording engineer and mix engineer. They mix it together so it sounds right. So the vocals aren't too loud, the music's not too loud, but it sounds just right. Then we often have a DJ come put scratches and cuts on the music. After that, we master the music, so we make it sound nice and loud so that it can be played on radios and in clubs and at festivals and things of that nature. And then we take the digital file and we put it up onto the internet, onto sites like iTunes and Spotify, but we also make them available on vinyl. So we record them onto a digital file. They take that digital file and they make a lacquer, a actual piece of almost, vinyl that cuts into a record, that makes grooves into the record that then can be played on turntables. So basically, there's the recording process or the creating process. So I write my rhymes, the producer makes the beats and makes the music. Then there's the recording process where I put my rhymes through the microphone into a computer over the beat that has been put in the computer from the producers. Then there is the mixing process where we mix the music and the vocals together so it sounds right. The mastering process where we make it sound real strong and powerful so you can play it loudly and low and still hear the same quality. And then finally, the production process of putting it out in distribution, where we put it out digitally online and also on vinyl records that can be sold either through websites or at record stores. How I got into music was I just came up in a very musical household. My mom used to play a lot of good music, and all of my friends, when we were young, they had this new music coming out, and instead of singing, which not everybody can do, everybody has a good singing voice, these guys are sort of like rhyming on records, hip hop, the hibbit to the hibbit, and talking with these rhyming words. And it was really cool because it was something that was accessible and something we can do, but it was also something that we never heard of. And since we had never heard it before, it just blew our minds, like, oh, you can just say rhymes and sort of rap back and forth over these beats. And I started my first rhymes in 1983, so I'm going on 37 years of rhyming, actually. So it became something that me and my friends used to do every single day with each other. Rapping back and forth, writing rhymes, copying other people's rhymes and changing the words around. And eventually we got really good at it, and we got the attention of some record labels because one of the guys who I grew up with, his name is Dell, his cousin is Ice Cube. So Ice Cube was in a group called NWA back in the days. You might know Ice Cube as an actor and the guy from the Big Three basketball tournaments, but Ice Cube was actually a really good rapper, still is a really good rapper. And he put Dell's album out. And once Dell's album came out, Dell put us on a few records, and those records began to get a buzz. And then people from New York started wanting to sign us. So it took me about 10 years of rapping. And after about 10 years, we got signed to a record label called Jive Records, which no longer exists, but they're a pretty big record label. They had Billy Ocean, Too Short, KRS-One, A Tribe Called Quest, even Outkast for a little while, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears. So they were a pretty big label. They're just no longer around. So once we got signed to Jive, we came out with a few records by them, came out with 2 albums. One was called 93 Till Infinity, which was a really big record for us. And then the second album we came out with on that label was called No Man's Land. And after No Man's Land came out, they felt that we weren't performing at the level they needed us to perform at, so they dropped us. And that was in 1995. And after 1995, from then till now, so the past 25 years, we have been independent, which means we make and record our own records. Educational and experience requirements. I would say that anybody who wants to be a rapper should study the dictionary, study the thesaurus, read as much as you can, stay up on current events, because, rap is a part of hip hop, and hip hop is made up of 2 things. Hip, which is being conscious, which is being in the know, knowing what's going on, and hop, which is, the beat, being able to bounce back and forth, the movement. So when you put those two things together, you have hip hop, and rap is a part of that. So as far as us rapping, I think because we have a very lyrical, very dense, intense style, it requires a large vocabulary. It requires us to have the ability to bounce back and forth between different cadences and flows, which means that we had to read the dictionary, we had to read books. It requires us to know a lot about current events and what's going on so that it can relate to people. So I would say read as much as you can, and if you want to make music, make beats, listen to all the great music and start trying to learn an instrument. I grew up playing the saxophone and messing around with the drums and everything, and some of the greatest producers grew up playing the drums, playing instruments. Once they stopped playing those instruments and started doing production on synthesizers, keyboards, etc., their knowledge of instruments then crossed over to these machines, and they're able to make great music. So I would say study the greats. So study all the great rappers, study all the great musicians, and read the dictionary, read books, and stay up on current events. So read the newspaper, the internet, etc. What do I like about my job? I love my job. I love it. I get to be creative every single day. Every day you don't feel like being creative, but if you push yourself, you find that after a while, even the stuff you do that may not be too good to you, other people like. So I like to create things, make things grow out of my mind into reality. And I like to travel. And because of my albums and because of our fame, etc., we've been able to travel the entire world. So I've been all over the planet, Asia, Europe, all over. We've got offers right now in South Africa and West Africa for shows. Latin America, Canada, all over. So I think that travel is one of the best things about this. We get to go all over the world, have a big party, and have fun with people who love our music and connect with them through this subculture called hip hop, and really make great friends, great connections, great relationships that last a lifetime. Every time I travel the planet, it's people who've seen me 5 years back, 1 year back, 20 years back, that then come back and hang out with us. Sometimes now they bring their kids. Sometimes now they bring their grandkids, which is just an awesome thing. How can you all get into hip hop? I would say in the music field in general, if you want to get into the music field, you have to study music. You have to make music. And it's easier than ever now because you have all these tools at your fingertips with these uh, computers, synthesizers, programs. There are even apps on your telephone that you can make music with. So I would say the way to get into music is by being interested in it and making it. Music is just sound. And sound, there's no wrong or right. You know, there's some things that may hurt somebody's ears, but to other people, it's what someone would say, music to their ears. So really, it's deciding what you want to do, doing it regularly, maybe copying other people till you get good at it. But once you get good at it, start doing your own special brand of music and creating on your own. And that's it. I mean, the requirements have dropped because of the internet and because of computer-based music. So you can go home today and decide to become a musician, and you can study through YouTube. You can study through lessons from a person. You can study through listening to records and listening to digital stuff. But create. That's how you get into music. And the way you get good at it is by doing it regularly. Any final thoughts? Let me think. I would say that music, to me, although it has treated me well and paid me well, it is my hobby. It is something I love to do, and I would do it regardless of if I got paid to do it. It's something like bicycling or snowboarding or surfing or riding a skateboard. It's just something I do. And I don't think that if I wasn't a professional musician, I wouldn't make music. It's something that I always do. So I would say that with anything that you want to get into, make sure you love it, make sure that you treat it well and it'll treat you well back. And that do it from the heart, and it will always be a good thing, no matter what. Whether you get paid from it, whether you get to travel or not. If you're creating something that you like and making what you want to hear in the world, you'll always have something great because you made it and you made what you wanted. So to me, it's do it from the heart, do it from the soul, do it as if it's your hobby, and don't worry about the money, and the money will come. And if the money doesn't come, make sure that you have an education. Make sure you have other options so that you can do all these other things and still make your music the way you want to, instead of trying to sell out and copy what's out here and, you know, do what the music industry might make you want to do. So I would say pursue your dreams, get savvy with instruments, learn about the music making process, not just about the sounds, but actually how to make those sounds, and do what you want from the heart. And music is a gift that keeps giving. I mean, it's been around since caveman times, and it'll be around to the end of humanity. So if it's something that you feel is in your heart you want to do, just do it. You can start tomorrow. You can start by beating on a table. You can start by doing things a cappella. You can make up rhymes just walking down the street. You can use your singing voice to make great melodies, etc. And also, I grew up with a crew, hieroglyphics. So if your friends are interested, or you find other people who are interested, do it together, because music is also a communal thing. It's something that we and all other cultures do together. It brings people together. So find other people who are into what you're doing or into music as well, and do stuff together. I hope that you all pursue your dreams, whether it's musical, whether it's being in the music business, or any other type of business. And I appreciate you taking this time to listen to my journey. Thank you.